I got a request to do a pacifist run for New Super Mario Bros. U, so here I am. The rules are pretty simple. We must avoid directly causing harm to any enemies we come across. I'm not going to waste any of your time, I think you get it. Starting off with 1-1, nothing here gets in our way. This happens with almost every challenge we do. 1-2 was also easy, but we want to take the secret exit to avoid harming Boom Boom in 1-Tower. Taking the secret exit brings us to 1-Blooper, which also doesn't pose any threats to us. With that, we're already on to World 5. I get why everyone attacks these games for being too short. Things start to pick up a bit in 5-1 as we have to make some very cautious jumps over these massive enemies, but nothing too crazy here. The latter half of this level is a lot easier if you have an acorn suit as well, because of the amount of Mega Koopas on these tiny platforms. After 5-1, we get our first fork in the road. We get to choose between 5-2 and 5-3. Whenever we get these, I'll play through both levels and say if there was anything noteworthy about them. Both levels were easy, but 5-3 was definitely the scarier of the two. Afterwards, we have to harm our first enemy, Boom Boom, in 5-Tower. Now, I know you can make the argument that you can take the secret exit in 5-2 to skip this level, but then you'll be forced to play through Iggy's castle as well as all the boss battles in World 6. So it's far more practical to harm Boom Boom here and get it over with. This brings us to 5-Ghost House, where the only enemies we have to worry about are boos, which are practically impossible to hurt. While we're here, we're going to take the secret exit to skip a bunch of boss fights and head right on to World 7. But before we can enter World 7, we have to complete 5-Parabeetle, which isn't a challenge. Starting with 7-1, we have nothing to worry about here. Before playing 7-Tower, we have to play either 7-2 or 7-3, but 7-3 is a little harder because of all the bullet bills. 7-Tower isn't too bad, but we do have to harm Kamek unfortunately. Afterwards, we can play 7-Ghost House, which is pretty relaxed. Then we're brought to this section. The idea here is we have to pray the question box appears here or here, so that we don't have to harm a bunch of fuzzies. Theoretically, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you'll be given no choice and have to harm fuzzies, so if you decide to do this challenge for yourself, you better pray for good RNG. No matter what though, assuming the RNG is nice to you, you are able to get past the fuzzies without harming any of them. You won't get the choice between 7-4 and 7-5, but both can be completed easily. As with the new Super Mario Bros. Pacifist run, we will not be counting enemies that poof out of existence because Mario did not do anything with the intent of harming them. If you disagree, well, f*** you, I guess. We're able to breeze past 7-6, no pun intended, and take on 7-Castle where we have to harm Ludwig before we can move on to the airship level in which we have to harm Bowser Jr. After this, we can conquer World 8, which is actually a piece of cake. Except one level, 8-2. 8-2 is one of those levels with the boat that can only have 4 enemies on it before it decides to screw you over. And as you'd expect, the only way to keep this boat moving is to kill any enemies that fall onto it. Yeah, that's going to be quite an inconvenience to our goal here. I had no idea how I was going to get past this level. It wasn't like we could platform our way across. I thought long and hard about how I was going to get past this level, and I was determined not to cave. Then, I remembered a very useful power-up in this game, the P-Acorn. The P-Acorn is the exact same as the Acorn suit, except you can boost as many times as you want. The P-Acorn is given to you for catching Nabbit, so all we had to do was go back to 1-1, catch Nabbit, and fly our way across this level like a total badass. Admittedly, this did take quite a few tries because of the awkward layout of this level, but eventually I made it through without harming any enemies. And like I said, the rest of World 8 was easy peasy. We just have to harm Bowser twice and Bowser Jr. once in the final level in order to beat the game, and we can therefore conclude that in order to beat New Super Mario Bros. U, you must harm a minimum of 7 enemies. But wait, this video isn't over. Part of the request was also to play through New Super Luigi U, and since I doubt I'll give that game its own separate video, might as well talk about it now. Since the path we take in Luigi U will be the exact same for the exact same reasons, and the overall experience is highly similar, I'm just going to speedrun this part of the script for the sake of your time. 5-1 has this damage boost through this Koopa as he's in a very inconvenient spot. In 7-1, we are allowed to freeze the fuzzies here because they're not actually taking damage from it. We do have to play through 7-3 instead of 7-2, as 7-2 has us stomping on a ton of wigglers. We once again have to use the P acorn in 8-2 because of this stupid boat thing, and with that, we can also conclude that the minimum amount of enemies needed to be harmed to beat New Super Luigi U is 7 enemies, since we have to harm the same exact boss fights as before. Whew. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any ideas for future Pacifist runs on this channel. If you have any ways we can avoid harming any of these enemies, please let me know in the comments below. With that said, thank you all so much for watching. Please do consider subscribing, as it really helps the channel grow and means a lot to me. I'll see you all in the next video, but until then, keep being awesome Nintendo fans.